It's the champ, Shannon the Cannon, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. And you're watching Sports Icons. Subscribe. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Champ.
So I've seen on Fight Hype that Tyson Fury kicked out a reporter. Now, I don't quite know the history of why he done that or what this reporter has done to Tyson Fury in the past. I don't know. So I had like a little look to see possibly why, and obviously there's a whole heap load of videos. I don't know why I'm filtering through it all, but of course a lot of people have been giving their own opinions as to why that happened, and a lot of people saying that it's because of Tyson Fury. He wore a Free Palestine t-shirt and he has some link to Israel. I don't know if he's Jewish or what. I don't know anything about this guy. And in fact, the last time that I've seen this guy's channel was well over a year ago, or whenever it was, when Canelo fought Chavez Jr. And from that moment, I kind of like realised that he was a bit of a nut swinger. Anything for a view, and I've viewed him as paparazzi rather than report. Okay, that's kind of how it was with me. But whatever the reasons are, I mean, apparently he's been chastising hardcore on Tyson Fury for a long time. For a very long time. And if you're doing that, why would you turn up to a press day with the guy that you're being chastising? That would be like Tyson Fury coming to my city and me going up there acting like nothing's happened, like I'm trying to get views. It just wouldn't happen. For me, I have a certain dignity about myself. I wouldn't put myself in that situation to be booted out, because it's embarrassing, right? And that's not to say that I will never be booted out of a gym. I may well be. I may well be refused interviews by certain fighters. And that's fine. I think every fighter has the right to talk to whoever they want to. Of course they do. But whatever's happened, then I think that, what's his name? Eddie Setback, I think his name is. He should know better. If you're being chastising, because I did see one video as well with him as well, where I believe Deontay Wilder was driving the car and he was filming it. I don't know whether it was a live video. I forget what it was now. But I thought, this guy is swinging hard. I mean, proper hard. Literally making excuses for Wilder as to why he hadn't stepped up. And this was quite some time ago. We're probably going back about a year or so ago. And I haven't watched this particular channel, this Esnews, since then. And that's pretty much how I am. When I kind of get to a point where I think, you know what, I've kind of had enough now, then I don't watch them no more. And I don't know what's going on unless other people tell me about them. Okay, so I don't know what he's been doing for the last year, but for me, I think some of the bits that I've seen about him, where if fighters are sat in cafes or you know, they're with their family or they're walking through an airport, he's running up on them like paparazzi, anything for a view, anything to upload something. For me, I wouldn't do that. I mean, it's just in my DNA. I think it's a case of when I was a kid, if there was a knock on the door and me, my mum and that were eating dinner, my mum would refuse to answer that door. And I think that's pretty much what's in me. So if somebody is eating their dinner, so for example, I've seen a fighter and I want an interview with them, for example, and they're cool with me having an interview and they're eating their dinner, I would not interview them while they're eating their dinner. That's just me. That's just how I am. And I would rather wait for them to do it. If that was the only chance, and they said, no, let's do it, because as soon as I finish this dinner, I've got to go off and do something else, so I won't have time, then sure, okay, fine, you know, I'd do it, but I'll still be uncomfortable about it. But this guy has no morals of what I've seen. I mean, I don't know, maybe he's a real decent guy. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even tell you what his content is about. But for me, I don't like paparazzi. And if you're a hater of somebody, then why would you go to the gym and expect niceties? As I said, if Deontay Wilder was here, I would not go up to him and expect some kind of interview. Of course not. Even though I don't have a problem with Wilder, and it's never been a personal thing. Wilder got into boxing because of his daughter, who was born with spina bifida, and he needed to make some money, and he thought boxing was the way to go to earn money to provide the best kind of care for his daughter and family. And that is what a real man is about. But I have an issue with his record and a lot of the things that he says, where he chastises other fighters, even though he hasn't been doing anything himself. So even then, I would never do it. It's like Frank Warren. I want Frank Warren to do well. I want Frank Warren to put on great shows. But until he does that, I will criticize certain things or ignore. 9 times out of 10, I ignore it. I just don't talk about it. But I want him to do well because I want him to put pressure on Eddie Hearn, etc. But all that aside, he may take it as personal. And because of that, I would never go up to him and put a camera in his face expecting an interview. I wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't happen at all. And it's like these guys who chastise Joshua and Eddie Hearn on a daily basis. And for a long time that they've been doing it. Now, Eddie Hearn, he likes controversy, and I've yet to know him blocking anybody from a press conference. I've never known it to happen. But it's going to get to a point where he may let some of these people into a press conference or have a one-on-one interview with them or whatever it may be. Because for him, he probably sees it as some kind of challenge to try and turn them as such. But it's going to get to a point where he's going to go, listen, you know, I'm giving you my time. I'm giving you 5-10 minutes or an hour, whatever it may be, of my time each time I see you. And yet we do these interviews and then you run off and start chastising me and twisting what I said. And listen, it's getting to a point now where I'm wasting my time. I could be chatting with other people who are going to try and do good for me, rather than waste my time with you, who quite clearly I'm never going to change. So therefore, sorry, but you're not welcome here anymore. And eventually that's what's going to happen. So everybody who's been chastising him and feels perfectly okay about going into a press conference and talking to him and Joshua or whatever, eventually you're not going to be able to do that, because it will get to a point where he'll go, no, that's enough. And it's like for me as well. I mean, there's certain things that I wouldn't turn up to interview a fighter knowing that I've chastised them in the past. Unless, of course, I was wrong about it and I have, of course, apologised for it or changed my tune about them, then, okay, you know what, maybe that's different. And when we have the chat, I will bring up the fact that I did say this about them. I mean, I would never hide behind something that I said. But some people, like this other guy, just have no morals. It's anything for a view, and that's just pretty much how it is. But it's like these Wilder fan channels out there, and they side with Wilder, but yet, for me, and again, it's just my opinion, they're entitled to do so. Okay, if they want to protect him and whatever it is that they want to do, they want to ride with him, then that's cool. He's their guy, and they should do that. And of course, they're allowed to do that. Why shouldn't they do that? Okay, but ultimately, it's like what they shouldn't do is get all butthurt when Joshua fans then defend Joshua against Wilder. But you know, some channels take it personal, and they really do. So for me, when it gets to a point, I just don't watch these people anymore. I just don't do it. Even though a lot of the things that they say at times, I actually agree with a lot of them. And sometimes if they was to do interviews with certain fighters, I would sit there and enjoy the interview, okay? I mean, I don't have a personal issue with any channel out there, really. Well, no, actually, one of two I have a personal dig with. But I think that, you know, if we would take Wilder out of the situation, I think we'd probably all get on fine, to be fair. But you know what? It just is what it is. So this guy turning up to Tyson Fury, I mean, again, if I see Tyson Fury, he may kick me out because I've said that I believe that Wilder's going to win. But he wouldn't do that. And this guy, this Eddie Setback, whatever, I've seen a couple of his videos, or bits of them anyway, saying that he believes that Tyson Fury kicked him out because he thinks, and he's openly said, that he believes Deontay Wilder is going to beat Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do it. We know him well enough to know he wouldn't do that. Tyson Fury is very rarely the favourite to win a big fight. So no, he would never do that. In fact, half the reporters in that room probably believe Wilder's going to do him. Maybe 90% of them. But he didn't kick them out. He kicked one out specifically because that one specifically was hating and goes above and beyond. That's why he done it. So this guy making excuses, and he's butthurt, and he's probably right to be butthurt. You know, he made the effort to go there and chat with him, and he got booted out. He got humiliated is what happened. So, you know what, he's perfectly right to be a little butthurt and cry about it. Of course he is. I mean, he can act like it didn't bother him. Of course it bothers him. Of course it would. I mean, if I see him Wilder and, you know, he kicked me out or something, I'll be a little bit butthurt about it. But there again, I wouldn't put myself in that situation to start with. I have some kind of morals. about me. There's certain things I would and wouldn't do. Okay, like like with Joshua, he could refuse me. He could refuse me. Eddie Hearn could refuse me. Anybody could. I mean, with Joshua, you see, I've never had an interview with him. His team never approached me or anything like that. So they should, to be honest, they should, but they don't. But no, I mean, of course they don't have to, because it's not about me and my personal feelings. I mean, as much as that, I would love to interview Joshua, it's not going to affect me if I never did. Do you know what I mean? So this other guy who is chastising Tyson Fury and is now butthurt because Tyson Fury kicked him out, you have no right to be so. Because it kind of comes to a point, if you are sponsored, which I'm presuming that he is, because he's a huge channel, right? Then when you get to a certain point, if you're sponsored, you should be professional. Like IFL TV, Coogan's always on the fence, okay? Because he's sponsored, he gets paid to be professional. I don't get paid to be professional. Contrary to belief, I'm not on the Matchroom payroll. I'm on nobody's payroll, okay? I've never received a free ticket. I've never received a phone call from Eddie Hearn to say, hello mate, how you doing? Never ever had anything like that. He does give me one-on-one time. Of course he does. If he sees me, he'll come up to me and he'll walk up to me and shake my hand. And he'll say, hey, how you doing? He'll call me by like my first name, like my real name. And we'll sit down and we'll have a chat. He will give me his time, but he doesn't have to. And if he ever said to me, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to interview you today. That's fine. He's within his right to do so. But you see, I have criticised some things that Eddie Hearn's done before. But I wouldn't expect him to bar me from a press conference or something for it, because I haven't done it repeatedly. I haven't gone over the top about it. I've just reacted that I'm unhappy with a certain show, or I'm unhappy that this fight was made when potentially this other fight could have happened. It's that kind of thing, and I'll do it from a boxing fan's point of view. Okay, so regardless of people thinking that I'm on a Matchroom payroll, no, I'm not. If I was, you'd know about it. Trust me, you would know about it. As much as I probably wouldn't say that I am, it would be pretty obvious, wouldn't it? But no, I'm not. And I'm not looking to be either. Okay, sponsorships, fine. Not from Matchroom, but sponsorships from any company out there, give me a call, no problem. You know what? Let's talk. And as soon as I'm sponsored, listen, I'll probably be professional. But until then, you know what? I'll have an opinion. And my opinion will be whatever my opinion would be. And all boxers out there have to like it or lump it. They really do. And when you're in the headlines and you're a celebrity, whether it be in boxing or any kind of sport, you have to be open for criticism, because you're never going to please everybody. And there's going to be always people who are going to criticize you for certain things. Why are you taking this fight when you should be taking that fight? And da-da-da-da. And I don't rate that fighter very highly. I think that fighter, if he fought this other one, is going to get blasted. That's opinion. And these fighters shouldn't get butthurt about it. And that's why I don't believe that Tyson Fury kicked him out just because this guy believed that Wilder was going to beat him. I mean, if I turned up to a Tyson Fury press conference, he may kick me out. It's possible, because I have criticised his cousin Hughie before. Because I believed that, at the time, of course, that he wasn't really injured when he was due to fly to New Zealand. And there was loads of things pointing me to that direction that I felt he just didn't want to go to New Zealand. I don't believe that he wasn't injured. So maybe the whole of Team Fury could just refuse me from here on out, for forever until whenever. Okay? And they're within their right to do so. But at the same time, with Tyson Fury, in fact, I was probably one of the very few who were actually criticising UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Control for their handling of Tyson Fury. Because they let this man sit on the shelf for so damn long and didn't sort anything out. So again, from that perspective, if Tyson Fury ever kicked me out, I'll let him have it. Because I was one of the very few who did actually defend him. But either way, if Wilder was to be in town, I wouldn't degrade myself by going up to him. Because I would fully expect to be kicked out. Of course I would. Because I haven't just said that, I believe Anthony Joshua is going to walk through Wilder. That's just an opinion. But you see, I've reacted to a lot of his fans' hatred and brought Wilder into it because I know it aggravates these guys. So he's within his right to just point blank refuse me and kick me out, and I wouldn't be butthurt about it. I mean, I'd have some pride about me, of course, but again, I wouldn't put myself in that situation. I'd turn up to a press conference, of course I would, because he has no power to stop it. Especially if I'm there for the other fighter, he has no power to stop it. But if he's doing an open workout or a media day, just him, of course, he has control of the room. He could say, Sporting Icons, you ain't coming in, boy. You ain't coming in. And there's nothing in the world I could do about it. And I wouldn't cry about it or anything like that. But fact is, I wouldn't put myself in that situation. It's like with Frank Warren. I wouldn't be confident that I could turn up to a press conference of Frank Warren and be allowed in. The last press conference here in Newcastle with the Matchroom one, I wasn't confident that I was going to be allowed in there because I knew that a certain person there was unhappy with me because I criticised Frank Warren before. And I said that I believed that Wilder was going to beat Tyson Fury. And this particular guy, who will go unnamed, who's just an emotional little girl by the looks of it, he got upset because I said that. Because he didn't see it as business, he didn't see it as someone just having an opinion. He's seen it as, well, if I'm seen with Sporting Icons, then Frank Warren and Tyson Fury is going to get upset with me. Even though Ben Davidson's perfectly fine with me and Tyson Fury's perfectly fine with me. Frank Warren, no, he's not. But you see, he allowed emotion to get in the way when his little business could actually do with my platform. You see, here we have enough to overfill the O2 Arena, okay, with all the views and subs that we have here, right? When he can't even fill a 2,000 little arena. He could do with my platform. But he allows emotion to get the better of him, so now he will never get the opportunity again unless he apologises to me. And I have that right, which goes back to the Tyson Fury thing. He has a right to kick out any reporter that he wants. And this guy can act like it doesn't bother him. Of course it bothers him. Of course it would. But he should have enough about him to not turn up. As I said, I mean, I've criticised Eddie Hearn before. I wouldn't expect to be kicked out of a press conference, and I wouldn't expect him to say, you know what, I'm not going to interview you because you criticised my show, or you criticised my decision making on this certain subject. I wouldn't expect that. If I went in on him and I started calling him a slave master and I just went over the top on every single video criticising him, then yes, he has every right to do so. And they have security on the doors. They have security on there. So all they've got to do is leave a message, say, hey, right, if a Sporting Icon turns up, don't let him in. And there's nothing in the world I could do about it. Literally nothing in the world. But luckily with this Newcastle one, while I wasn't confident I was going to be allowed in, I kind of was in some ways because it's Eddie Hearn's show, not this other guy's. This other guy has zero input into it. But anyway, so for me, Tyson Fury kicking that guy out, absolutely correct. He's right to do so. And if anybody who says that he's not and he shouldn't, well, he should. But at the same time, I will understand when people say, but he's in the public eye and therefore reporters have every right to report whatever they want. And from that point of view, you are correct. But if that reporter is repeatedly hating, then it's going to get to a point where they're going to go, well, why would I give you time for? What's the point? I'm helping you out, getting you some views and some maybe additional subs and whatever else, only for you to chastise me on the very next video. So therefore, no, I ain't doing it. So from my point of view, if any fighter out there like David Haye, I wouldn't expect him to invite me to a press conference because I didn't like the fact he didn't fight Joseph Parker and he chose Tony Bellew instead. So from that point of view, I wouldn't expect him to ever send me an email to invite me. With Frank Warren, I would never expect an invite to a press conference. I would never expect it. In fact, if anything, I would probably expect a note on the door, don't let Sporting Icons in. But, you know what? They have their right to do so. They don't even have to give a reason. They own the show. It's as simple as that. We are just mere fans. That's all we are, right? Anyway, drop your thoughts below about it all. Click that thumbs up. And, of course, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.